All right. So, Virginia, you wrote me a letter. There we go. And you didn't describe in great detail what the issue is, but what you did say is a very common thing lots of people talk about, and that is not being good enough. Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
All right. Now, go ahead.
I've carried this belief, I think, since I can remember. And I probably said, I feel I've come a long way, but there's still a lot. I think there's still more to resolve. Because whenever I do something, like whether it's teaching or starting a new project or even hosting people, I feel I have to go over the top to feel good enough. And I wish I could be lighter about things, because it would make life a lot easier for myself and for others. And I really want to get to the bottom of it and heal this, not just for me, but for others as well.
Well, sure. And all of that becomes, I mean, it comes about because you got embedded as you were growing up,
Mm-hmm.
Cultural, family experiences, specific events in your life all get together and they say, Virginia, you're not good enough.
Yeah.
But, and I know you've worked with specific events. In fact, you and I have worked on some specific events.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the clues here is, since it's still not done yet, that we didn't get as thorough or as deep as maybe we could have. Okay, that's a clue. Progress, yes. Complete, no. I'm inclined. I'm not sure where we're going to go here. So I'm listening to Unseen Therapist, and I'm getting notions and one thing and another. Hold on a minute. But anyway, before we were interrupted by the telephone, my apologies. We were talking about specific events, but I'm getting more urged at the moment to start, at least to begin with, we'll see where it goes, to do a lot of reframing on this issue. Okay. And so let me ask you a question. I hear from lots of people, well, I'm not good enough. Okay, great. What does that mean? Define what not good enough means.
Well, I guess something in me tells me I need to be in a certain way, to be accepted, to be loved, and doesn't feel like that. And doesn't feel like that as I am. So I need to put a lot of effort, extra effort, just to deserve to be accepted or loved.
Well, okay, I hear that. Yes. But let me get to that question a little bit more. When you define good enough, there's a level somehow. There's a line someplace. Above the line, you're good enough, and below the line, you're not good enough. Okay. Where is this line?
I hadn't thought about it, but now that you say it, I think it's quite high.
Well, where?
I would say impossible. It's an impossible standard to meet.
Oh,
logically.
Well, okay.
But
well,
no,
not logically, emotionally.
Emotionally, yes.
Okay. Logically, I understand the emotional part. Yeah. But logically, are you good enough? Whatever that means?
Yeah.
Well, let's explore that some. I know one of the things you do, besides working with optimal EFT and unseen therapists with other people. Okay. But one other thing you do is you translate English to Spanish and Spanish to, I mean, you teach that kind of thing and you translate. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Are you good enough to do that?
Yeah.
How do you know you're good enough?
I know because I've had the same students for over 2 years and they keep coming to my lessons. They pay to come to my lessons. They could find another teacher if they wanted, for example.
All right. So in that area, whatever good enough mean, I mean, where would the line be when you were no longer good enough to be a language teacher?
Well, no one would want to come to my lessons, or they would come to just one lesson and they would give up.
Okay, so what you're saying here is your criteria for whether you're good enough in the language area is whether or not people come to you and come back.
Yeah, for example, yes.
If they come back, then you're good enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you good enough? Are you good enough to drive a car?
That one is, I've just had my driving license and
I didn't know that. I assumed you've been driving for years. Okay.
I'm quite fearful of that. I did pass my test and I can go here and there, but
okay. I used the wrong example. Okay. Are you good enough to eat lunch?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You can eat lunch with the best of them.
I can even cook it.
You can even cook it. All right. Are you a good cook?
Good enough. Yes, I'm good enough.
You are a good enough cook. All right.
Yeah.
All right. All right. My guess is that there are many areas in your life where you don't even question whether you're good enough. You just are. Am I right?
Sure. Yeah, right. Spot on.
Okay. So it's not a matter, these are all reframing questions and reframing discussions. Okay. So it's not a matter of being good enough in certain areas. It's a matter, or being good enough generally. It's really whether or not you're good enough in certain areas, because some areas you are good enough at. Let me ask you this. In your opinion, you being the authority now, okay, am I good enough to translate like you do?
No.
I'm not.
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Well, because I probably know 5 words in Spanish. So I'm not good enough.
Not for that, but
well, I may be
you are good enough.
I may be good enough in other things, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just like you, I'm good enough at some things and not good. Like, am I good enough to give birth?
You can't.
No, I fail miserably.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even try. Am I good enough to play professional American football?
Yeah, I think if you have chosen that route, probably you would be, yes.
At age 81, you think I can get out there?
Well, not now, but you have the skills probably.
Well, there was a time I had skills I don't have now. Okay. But the reality is I'm not good enough to play any professional sport. Okay. I may have had a glimpse of a possibility once upon a time. Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm not good enough at that. Now, ask me if I care.
Do you care?
No. The last thing I want to do is put on a football pads and go out and play football. Something would break within 10 minutes.
Mm. Mm.
I am not good enough. I am not good enough. Good enough in some areas, not good enough in other areas. Okay. Just like you. Okay. What's reason I bring that up, Virginia, is many people, when they say I'm not good enough, they say it in sort of a generalized way. I'm just not good enough generally. I don't, to use terms you used before, I don't deserve, and things like that. Right? Okay. But the reality is, and don't let me put words in your mouth. You always want to correct me, because we don't want to go down some path where the assumptions are wrong. All right. So you are not good enough, not in general, like you're not good enough across the board. Okay. You are not good enough in specific areas, and that bothers you. Okay. So what are the specific areas you're not good enough in?
Well, for example, when it comes to social interactions, that's a sensitive area. Sometimes, a lot of the time, I feel I said the wrong thing, and maybe I hurt the other person unintentionally, but maybe it wasn't even the case. But I very easily feel I did something wrong or said something wrong. So that's one example.
Does that happen? Does that happen often? Excuse me for interrupting. Does that happen often?
Yeah, it happens often.
Once a day? Once a day?
No,
once a week?
No, maybe twice a week.
Okay.
Maybe I said something to a friend, and I said, "Oh, I might have upset her," for example. And then also, as you know, I am, for a long time, I have felt like a call. It's like a calling to work as a therapist. It's not something that I want to do just because, or I feel it's a calling, you see, like from the soul. And it's an urge that I have to do it. And I have recently, I made big steps, what I call big steps. That's what I was saying. I've come a long way. But this feeling of not good enough makes it hard, not just for me, but it makes it, it stops me from helping others, because I feel I could be giving a lot and helping, and others could also benefit. So so there is an unnecessary emotional charge, like before I make the steps, and then after I made steps, I feel, oh, maybe this didn't go so well, or that could have gone better, and I'm quite harsh on myself. So it makes my progress slow.
Okay.
And painful.
Am I hearing a link? I'm sorry, say it again.
Unnecessarily painful.
Painful. Okay. Am I hearing some kind of a possible link? And tell me if I'm right or not. Okay. Between this, not you're worried about saying something wrong to somebody, hurting their feelings, maybe, and something like that. Do I see a link between that and the hesitancy to go help other people?
Yes, because this is obviously people open up when you're working as a therapist, and it's very delicate area, and you really want to be careful and get it right.
Well, yeah. Now define for me what right is.
Well, it's hard, but tuning in well to the client and being very sensitive.
Wait, I didn't quite get that. Do what well with the client?
Tuning. Oh,
tuning. Okay, yeah.
And being sensitive to their feelings and understanding. This is something else. Understanding exactly what they are saying. Sometimes I'm afraid of not understanding what exactly the problem is, and therefore not responding properly.
All right. Now, do you recognize that I have the same fear?
No.
Oh, you don't? Well, let's just turn the clock back a little bit in this session here. Okay. I said earlier on, you're going to have to correct me. I don't want to make an assumption that's wrong and go down the wrong path. So you need to correct me. Did I not say that earlier?
Mm-hmm.
That's my way of saying I'm afraid of getting it wrong. And I just pre-framed the whole thing so that you can correct me whenever I'm wrong. Did I not do that?
Yes, you did.
That's because I don't want to make a mistake, and I'm likely to, because I don't know your whole life. You and I have had other discussions, and I still don't know your whole life. Okay. I don't know everything that happens and all of that. And even if I did, I've probably forgotten some of it because I talk to lots of people. Right?
Yeah.
So do you consider me good enough in this field?
Sure.
Well,
more than good enough.
All right. So, but let's talk about that for a minute. Because one of the things you're concerned about being not good enough is not understanding and tuning into the people and things you just said, right? All right. I have the same fear. That's why I said up front, you please correct me because I'm likely to get this wrong. I don't know how well that conversation. I see a doubt in your face. Something didn't match there. Tell me what that might be.
No, it's no doubt. I just want to cry.
Okay, well, what would
just
the tears
you
be?
Saying that, I don't know, but it's like.
Well, we triggered something, so let's get into it, okay?
I'm not sure. I think it's because I can see how harsh I am. And when you speak, you're like so light and so accepting. That makes me want to cry.
Well, okay. But maybe the difference between us, there are some things that are the same between us, I would like to suggest. One is I don't know what's going on and who's going to do, what the client is ever going to say or whatever. I don't know when you and I start this, where we're going to go. I don't know. Okay. And the thing is, I accept that I don't know. And I pre-frame along the way. I'm not sure about this, but what about? You'll hear me say that all the time.
Yes, I know. But when you say to me, it feels more, this has a deep effect.
Okay, but could you not say the same words, similar words?
Yeah. Yes, I know. It's
well,
simple. It's so simple when you say it.
Well, because you're still dealing with embedded stuff, okay?
Yes.
Embedded echoes and unresolved stuff from the past that are replaying when you try to do this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. We're still going to don't know where we're going to go yet. See, here I am again. I still don't know where we're going to go. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I do not know where we're going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you don't know where you're going to go, you get all upset about it because, I'm doing it wrong because you don't know yet. Okay. But how can you know?
Yes.
How can you know that about anybody? I mean, you can have clients that you've had 10 sessions with and you still don't know everything you need to know. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
They will still surprise you with this incident with Aunt Sarah someplace that you never even heard about.
Mm-hmm.
Here it comes.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know. Part of the reframe here would be to allow you the idea that you really don't know, and that's okay. Nobody knows.
Yes.
The greatest therapist on the planet doesn't know.
Mm.
The psychiatrist with the years and years of education and the hundreds of thousands of dollars spent to get their MD degree
Mm-hmm.
doesn't know either.
Yes.
Or do they know? Do they know? Do you think they know?
No.
They can't know. They just know a bunch of other stuff. But they do not know what's really going on with that client.
Mm-hmm.
But what they do, I think, tell me if you think this is right. I'm guessing here, okay?
Mm.
Notice that I'm guessing here. You hear that?
Yes.
I say it a lot. Okay, I'm guessing here, okay? The psychiatrist who may be dealing with a client, even though the psychiatrist with all the degrees and everything else doesn't know what's really going on with the client. They don't know the client's history, the life, all of that. And they never will know it all. But because they have the degrees and the pieces of paper and all the study and everything else, they have the credentials to say so, ha, ha, ha.
Mm-hmm.
Yet they don't know any more than you do as far as what's going on. Am I right?
It's nice to see it that way. Yes.
Well, tell me where I missed that. Okay.
I have to say, the credentials add on to the not feeling good enough because, like, in the country I am, they don't recognize complementary therapies in any way, for example.
Okay. Well, okay. So that's a real practical thing for someone who doesn't deserve and all that. And besides all of that, you don't even have the right credentials. And the government says, you're not good enough.
It adds on the reasons for not feeling good enough. Yes.
Well, legally, are you allowed to help somebody?
Yeah. I mean, as long as you say, I'm not a doctor, like you do. Yes.
Yeah. Well, when you tell people you're not a doctor, do they say, oh, well, I'm leaving here, you're not good enough?
No.
Well, what do they say?
I don't think they're that bothered, actually.
You don't think what? I'm sorry.
They're not that bothered.
They're not that bothered. Okay.
No.
All right. Because they're more interested in, well, what's going to happen in this session more than anything else. Okay.
Yes.
Not whether or not some doctor is going to give me a pill to take care of everything or come up with some wise thing they learned once upon a time and they're loaded with wisdom and somehow or other, correct me if I'm wrong. All right. Correct me if I'm wrong. Somehow or other at that moment, you are as good enough as a doctor in their mind. Well,
yes, and some of them has been let down by doctors, actually. And
well, some clients just absolutely despise doctors. Some.
yes.
Okay. I'm not kicking doctors in the teeth here, but just this is where clients are coming from. Okay. Mm-hmm. I can't stand the doctors. And they will say, you know, they're arrogant people and all they do is give me drugs and I feel worse and they don't do anything. Mm-hmm. I hear that a lot. Do you?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And when you hear that, are they not also saying, you must be just as good as a doctor or better than a doctor because I want to hear what you have to say? I mean, somehow or other that's being communicated.
Yes. Absolutely. It's like it could be their last hope sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. But when you hear that, you're not really saying that to yourself. You're saying, I'm wondering if I deserve to be here.
Mm. Yes. Who am I? Who am I to be here?
Who am I to be here? Well, the client seems to think there might be some. Let me ask you this. Do you know when it comes down to getting results therapeutically for the client, do you know more about how to do that than they do?
Sure. Yes.
Well, you said that rather congruently.
Yes.
So you have something valuable. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but do I say it right? You have something valuable to offer them?
Yes.
Now, it may not be the pinnacle, magical, absolute best ever, but it's a lot better than what they have, what they're doing for themselves.
Yes.
I don't want to impose my thoughts. Is that truly your belief, or just something it sounds good to say?
It's spot on, because I have seen it very recently. Like I had a client, we did a session, and I suggested your book, The Unseen Therapist, and she's been reading it, and we've been exchanging conversations. She's struggling to do it by herself, and it's clearly harder to do all of this by yourself. And it took me some time to say, if you want, we can have another session, because I didn't want to say too quickly or to impose it, but it was what she needed, another session.
Okay, well, the truth about that book is it's a very intro book. And while it can be useful for some people on some issues, the more challenging issues, which I gather this client has, the book is just going to be an intro. It's not going to take you anywhere near what you can take her to. Now, did I say it right?
Yes, and also it takes discipline to read it, to do the exercises by yourself.
Yeah, sure. Okay. All right. Okay, but you had this hesitancy. You had to wait a while before you finally said, well, you know, we could go a little further, however you worded that. All right.
Yes, exactly.
So tell me again, the wheels are turning. You're getting some replays. You're getting an inner voice. And what's it telling you? You're not good enough yet. Maybe she'll reject you. Maybe if you go a little step further, you're not quite able to deliver and you're going to feel bad. Tell me.
Yeah, it's like it's a very delicate and personal and sensitive issue for her, and you need to be very prepared, very spiritually evolved to be at the right level to help her.
Wait a minute. Wait. I got to stop.
We're not there yet.
Well, I've got to stop you there because you used some terms. You've got to, I think you said you got to be very prepared. Did you not say that? and
yes,
spiritually evolved.
yes.
Okay. So this client now who has an issue that is more challenging than the book can handle, it can only introduce her to some things. You recognize that. You have more skills in this area than she does. But yet you're also overlaying it. Now, always correct me. This is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
You're always overlaying it with, I've got to be very prepared. Now we have to define very, and we have to define what prepared is, because those are the kind of things like you can never match up to depending upon how high very prepared is. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And spiritually evolved.
Yeah.
I mean, that's potentially as big as it gets. And who gets there?
Yeah.
How many people do you know that are completely spiritually evolved?
Yeah. Not many.
Well, can you name one?
Yeah, I've got some.
Oh, really?
People in mind. Yes.
Well, I'd like to meet them, because I've never met anybody that's completely spiritually evolved.
Right. Okay.
Well,
I tend to idealize people also.
Am I spiritually evolved?
Yes.
In my view, I'm like you. I have a long way to go. Okay, that's my view. Okay. All right. So anyway, let's get back to, you've got to be, in order to help this person, all of a sudden, the fact that you are more acquainted with where she could go with all of this than she is, substantially more acquainted. You still have to be very prepared and spiritually evolved, or you can't go there. Okay. So how prepared do you have to be?
Well, I guess I always feel I need more experience, but I do have quite a lot already. And sometimes I feel a lifetime would not be enough.
Well, yeah. Yeah. And I deal with the same thing. You know what I did to prepare for this right here, this meeting we're having right now, is I looked at your email and said, not good enough. I think maybe I should do some reframing here and ask her what that really means. That's all the preparation I did. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't do any other preparation. Okay. And I am not the least bit concerned about my spiritual involvement. You know why? Because I'm going to turn it over to unseen therapists. Listen, you may think this is a funny statement, but it's a very true one. I just work here.
Right. You're an assistant.
I am an assistant. Yes. My skills, which I'm trying to teach you, and you're getting better and better and better at, are at how to be an assistant.
Yes. I know that intellectually, logically, but when it comes to it.
All right. We're still reframing. We're trying to pick all this stuff apart.
Yes.
So that when we get down to the emotional piece of it, hopefully it's going to be easier to fade. All right. But anyway, so you've got to be very prepared. You don't even know what that is. Right? Or do you know what it is?
Experienced.
How would you know if you were very prepared for this client?
Yeah, or experienced. We can say experienced.
Okay. All right. So how much experience do you have?
Well, few years.
Okay. Well, that's a whole lot more than a few days.
Yes.
It's a whole lot more than the client.
Yes.
All right. But you see, even if you had 10 times the experience, you could always have more.
Yes.
Right? I could always have more. I'm getting more as we speak. As we speak. All right. Okay. So I get the idea, Virginia, that this discussion is landing a bit academically. In your head, you recognize all of this, but you don't own it yet. Okay. Give me your sense of it. Have we just been tiptoeing around doing nothing, or did you think it actually started to dissolve some stuff?
No, it dissolved. As I said, from the very beginning, when I was moved, actually, I was tearful. When you started talking about it, when you started reframing, I started seeing myself with more compassion for some reason. I don't even know what you said that did the trick.
Oh, okay.
So something is dissolving.
All right. Well, we did a little movement someplace, somewhere. Okay. All right. And one reason we're recording this so you can go over it. If you can play it again and again, and chances are something that was said, something you said, etc. Oh, it hits a little more deeply, kind of thing. Okay. Because being very prepared and spiritually evolved, you'll never get there. Never. How can you possibly be very prepared and spiritually evolved?
Yeah.
All right. Now, I'm also hearing in all that we've said so far that there is a fear involved. If you move forward, if you say something to the client, where the client might say, "Oh, I get my hopes up," and now you have a fear you won't deliver. And that's not going to feel very good. That will stop you in your tracks. Do I have that right?
Yes.
All right. If you could wrap your thoughts around what a voice in your head might be, what words a voice in your head might be saying at that moment, what would that be?
It's a double fear. I was trying to tune in when you were saying. One part of me is afraid of messing up with her. You see, it's like it's a sensitive thing for her, very delicate and hurting. I know I won't hurt her, but it's like stopping her hopes to heal or preventing her from healing.
She will be disappointed in you?
Yeah, the other is failure. You see, it's a fear of failure also, very, I guess.
Right. Yeah, I got that, but let's get behind it for a moment. Okay. All of us, almost daily, if we think about it, fail at something or other. We're forever saying things and talking about things and trying things and whatever, and sooner or later we fail at something. We're always failing. Okay. And we're succeeding too, here and there in the other place. All right. When you eat lunch, you succeeded, right? That was supposed to be funny. Okay.
Sorry, I was okay.
All right. Okay. So you're going to fail. I fail. Everybody fail. We fail. Failure is part of the landscape. It's how